One day, Diesel was feeling grumpy when Thomas showed up.
"What do you want, Thomas?"
said Diesel grumpily. "Nothing. I just want you to cheer up and stop being a grumpy Diesel."
"Huh, yeah, right," said Diesel. "I am just more useful than you are."
Thomas was cross. "No, you're not, Diesel," said Thomas. "I'm more useful than you."
"No, I am."
"No, I am." Then Duck came in to stop the argument.
"All right, that's enough, you two," said Duck. "Steamies and Diesels are equally useful."
Later that night, the engines were asleep, but except for Diesel.
"I am gonna show the Steamies that I'm more useful than they are," said Diesel.
Then he rolled away. Diesel arrived at a track right next to his siding. Then he had an idea.
"I'll take Annie and Clarabelle, so that way Thomas will not be useful anymore."
Diesel was coupled up to Annie and Clarabelle. They woke up with a shock. "Where are we going?" said Clarabelle. "I don't know," said Annie.
"We're going on a trip," said Diesel.
Then he rolled away. Diesel was pulling Annie and Clarabelle through the countryside. He didn't notice Stanley sleeping in a siding.
No one's here to see me," said Diesel.
When Stanley woke up, he could not believe his eyes. He saw Diesel pulling Annie and Clarabelle.
"Hey, Diesel," said Stanley crossly.
"Get back here with Thomas's coaches." But Diesel didn't hear Stanley. He kept on rolling along. Then Diesel approached the tunnel. Diesel was proud.
"I can hide Annie and Clarabelle here,"
he thought to himself. So Diesel went in the tunnel to hide Annie and Clarabelle. Once Diesel was uncoupled from the coaches, he rolled away. Then he decided to have a plan for Toby. He went up to the yard and told the troublesome trucks his plan. Then he oiled away. The next morning, Diesel found Toby.
"Hello, Toby. How are you?" said Diesel.
"Hi, Diesel. I'm doing fine," replied Toby.
"That's good," replied Diesel. "Can you come with me for a second?"
"Sure," said Toby, and then he followed Diesel. At last, Diesel brought Toby to the troublesome trucks.
"Hey, Toby," said Diesel in his oily voice. "Are you strong enough to pull these troublesome trucks?"
"Of course I am," replied Toby.
"Good. I knew I could rely on you," said Diesel.
Then Toby buffered up to the cars. Then he rolled away. Diesel laughed. "Ha ha ha, looks like my plan has worked," said Diesel. Then the troublesome truck started singing at Toby. "Toby is slow. He's too weak to pull us. That's why he's made out of wood." Toby was cross. "Cut it out," he said crossly. "Woo-hoo," said the cars. "We'll show him." Toby struggled through the countryside. "Go faster, faster, on, yelled the cars. They pushed Toby. Toby was alarmed. "Oh, stop!" cried Toby. They pushed him through the countryside. They pushed him up the hill. And they pushed him down the hill. They pushed him everywhere. "Help! Help! I can't stop!" cried Toby. Then there was trouble. A lady was coming by and she was coming on the same tracks as Toby. "Oh no! Help! Lady, look out!" cried Toby. Toby was diverted into a siding. Toby hit the buffers with a bang and a crash. "Bust my cow ketchups," cried Toby. "I'm off the tracks."
"Don't worry, Toby,"
cried Lady.
"I'll go get you some help."
The lady went to go get help. Then Diesel rolled over. He saw Toby. "Ha ha 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 ha. Look who had an accident now, Toby," laughed Diesel. Toby was cross. "Oh, shut up, Diesel. I know you planned this." "I said maybe," said Diesel, and then he rolled away. Then there was another accident. Annie and Clarabelle got biffed by some engine, and then they came off the tracks. It was Stanley. "Oh, no. I'm so sorry, Annie and Clarabelle," cried Stanley. "I must tell Thomas." Meanwhile, Thomas was looking for his coaches. "Where could they be? I thought I had them here somewhere," he huffed to himself. Then Stanley rolled up. "Thomas, I know what happened to Annie and Clarabelle. Diesel hid them in the tunnel from you." Oh, that Diesel will not get away with this, said Thomas. I will come up with a plan. Meanwhile, Lady arrived with Rocky to go help Toby back on the tracks. With a heave and a haw, Rocky lowered Toby back on the tracks. Then he put Annie and Clarabelle back on the tracks. Now the whole steam team is after Diesel. Diesel knew that they were coming, so he hid in a tunnel. Diesel ain't gonna get away with this, said Thomas. We'll show him, said Edward. He went too far, said Henry. He'll never be grand like me, said Gordon. He won't have a shiny paintwork like me, said James. He ain't going anywhere, said Percy. Where's that dirty Diesel, said Toby. Then the whole steam team decided to split up. Thomas, Percy, and James worked together to find him, while Edward and Henry worked together to find him. And Gordon and Toby worked together to find him. At last, they found Diesel in the tunnel. Come out, Diesel, said Thomas. We know you're in there, said Percy. We know what you've done, said James. We're not letting this slide, said Gordon. You went too far, said Toby. Now Diesel was very scared. He tried running out of the tunnel. Oh, no. Where do you think you're going, said Edward. You're not going anywhere, said Henry crossly. You are going to pay for what you've done. Derail him, please. And they did. Thomas, Percy, and James pushed him into a siding. And they pushed him into a buffer. And Diesel came right off the tracks. Everyone laughed at Diesel. Ha ha ha, look who's not useful now, said Thomas. Oh, what's the matter, laughed Percy. You want to come back on? No one's going to help you, laughed James. How are you going to get out, said Gordon. Are you going to cry for help? Or are you just going to get out yourself? Poor silly Diesel came off the tracks, laughed Edward. So what you gonna do about it, laughed Henry. Diesel was embarrassed. Stop, cried Diesel. It's not funny. That's how I felt when you laughed at me, said Toby crossly. Later, when Diesel was back on the tracks, he crawled to a siding where Sir Topham Hatt, Thomas, and Duck were waiting. Sir Topham Hatt spoke severely to Diesel. Well, Diesel, said Sir Topham Hatt, I heard that you stole Thomas's coaches and hid them into a tunnel so he doesn't be useful, and I heard that you made Toby have an accident. You should be ashamed of yourself, Diesel. Yes, sir. Sorry, sir, said Diesel sadly. Thomas, I'm sorry for saying that I'm more useful than you are, and I'm sorry for taking your coaches and hiding them. And Duck, you were right. All Steamies and Diesels are both equally useful. I forgive you, Diesel, said Thomas, and I'm sorry for saying that I'm more useful than you are. At least you know now that Steamies and Diesels are equally useful, said Duck. Good job, Diesel, said Sir Topham Hatt. Now go apologize to Toby. Yes, sir, said Diesel, and he rolled away. Diesel rolled up to Toby. Toby, I'm very sorry for what I did to you, making you have an accident. I was wrong. Could you please forgive me? Toby smiled at Diesel. Wow, Diesel, said Toby. This really means a lot to me. Of course I forgive you. Thank you, Toby, said Diesel happily. I think that we're both really useful engines. Steamies or Diesels, we're both really useful. And the two engines were happy to be friends again.